What's going on, y'all, man? It's your boy DP.
And I am Big Ron Jones.
And this is Fit Plug Radio. This podcast is brought to you guys by the HEAT Challenge. HEAT Challenge is a 6-week fitness transformation challenge built to help you develop lasting nutrition and exercise habits. Over the course of 6 weeks, 5 winners with the most significant transformation will be paid $5,000 each, totaling $25,000. You can sign up today by going to www.HeatXtreme.com. That's HeatXtreme.com to reserve your spot. Nizzle. Ron, man, what's going on with you?
Man, a whole lot of nothing. Everything's going according to schedule. Totally unpredictable and boring, just like I like it. I'm not too big on surprises, you know what I mean? I like to know where things are going.
Oh my God, you are a fool. Nah, same here, man. Today's the 14th. Today is the day that little Dallas Gray should be born, but I don't really know if that's going to happen today.
Man, so, I don't know. If those guys are on real time charts, it'd be so much easier, right? Like if we had an actual rifle, a true ETA.
Yeah, that's like, don't give me put your finger on the calendar. I think we're going to think it's going to be this thing. Like, give me a real, a real date and time so I can be prepared.
Exactly so. And if you wouldn't mind, some instructions would be cool also.
Exactly. A nice little manual to go with this thing.
Yeah.
So listen, last night we're, you know what I'm saying? We got all these boxes in the dining room. And I'm like, all right, I guess I can go ahead and start putting this stuff together now. So this pack and play that we got, dog, when I say I got so frustrated at this thing, and the frustrating part of it was on the box, it shows you a changing bed and then like a little bassinet that you can put it in.
Okay.
But the bassinet flips over and you can take it out and then it turns into a rocker. So this little thing I've been trying to put together, I swear, for like an hour. I'm like just struggling with this thing. And I remember last time, I had a pack and play, like the sides, it's weird. They usually snap together when you pull it up.
Uh-huh.
But I could not get the sides together. And we struggled for like 15 minutes trying to figure out how to put this thing together. And then she's like, well, how about if you just pull the middle and then snap up the sides? I'm like, all right, try that. And then the snap. Like we're literally two of us is pulling this thing as hard as we can, trying to pull it up, muscle this thing. And all we had to do was,
it's crazy because like everything today is designed to be done with one hand and a baby in the other. So like it is extra easy, supposed to be streamlined, but like when you really do it with like both hands, it doesn't work. Like it's terribly weird how that works. Like it's made for a mom to have a baby on her hip and function the whole thing with, her right hand. And somehow, I don't know, my kids are 7 and 9. So the difference between 7 years ago and now, I could only imagine what the difference is, Man,
I felt like, you ever seen Kevin Hart's when he's in, he's talking about the 60-year-old guy that had a kid, and at the park, it's like the 60-year-old guy running around trying to chase a basketball. That's exactly what it looks like with a kid. Hey, you, come here. That's what I felt like last night. I wanted to pick this thing up and throw it out the damn window.
God. Frustrated. That's hilarious. And it doesn't get any easier once you remove sleep from the equation, right? So if we can't get it done now, oh my God, what's going to happen next week,
That was my reality this morning. I said, man, I didn't go to sleep till 3, had to get up at 8 to do my cardio. And I woke up, I woke up and looked at the bed. We got the bassinet next to the bed and everything now. And I'm like, man, this probably was like my last night of some quality sleep.
That's funny.
You gotta feed them every 2 or 3 hours or something like that. Like,
absolutely, man. So if cardio sucks under the most ideal of conditions, imagine you start taking or interrupting sleep all throughout that. Oh man. Well, more power to you, my brother. I am done. More power to you. We have made decisions. We have made permanent decisions, in fact. Very permanent, long-lasting decisions. So There are no more in the mix.
Listen, I'm right. I'm right after you. After everything, she come out. She good. We good. We good. All right.
It's official. All right. I'm out. I'm checking out the gene pool. It was real.
It's been real.
Tell me I got one on the way. I'm going to tell you a lie.
Exactly. Hey. But no, man, the topic of the day is HIIT versus steady state cardio. And for those of you guys who don't know what HIIT is, HIIT is high intensity interval training. What's the difference between the two, Ron?
Yeah, so it's funny. You have high intensity interval training, or what we shorthand call HIIT. Then you have steady state training. Two different types of training, and they're both designed with the concept of fat burn being of priority, which is something that we all must have going. All right, which is why we make decisions on which one is best for us. That's where the details lie. The details lie on which way of burning fat is best for you and your current setup. And truth be told, there's even a third version of this, and it's oftentimes confused with HIIT. Although the two are very similar, there's actually some differences. Although they seem minute, they are different. And that's Tabata, which you yourself were kind of big on earlier on, which is another form of, or very similar to HIIT. So I would probably put HIIT and Tabata in the same boat and kind of leave steady state cardio on its own. I am a steady state cardio kind of guy. People ask me, why am I a steady state kind of guy? Well, at my size, 6'3", carrying this much muscle mass around, it's just a lot of weight. And something of a high intensity, just that high intensity, just isn't going to fare well on my knees. You know what I mean? So I have to get the cardio done, but I have to do it in a way that's going to preserve the cartilage I have in my knees, you know? How about yourself? What are you currently doing now the most of?
Well, the funny thing is I do both. In the morning when I wake up is definitely a steady state cardio. And then I usually have my meal after that and then go into my workout. And then, right after that, I do a HIIT type of workout, which will be what everybody gets Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in my Extreme 35 class. So I do a little bit of both, or both, should I say, but not everyone can do, everyone can do steady state, but not everybody can do HIIT. And why do you think that is?
Cause, you know, as we age, for instance, the first factor between, me and you, as we're both aging, we're both beyond the age of 35 now, is that we have some wear and tear. You know, if the wear and tear comes, so if you have
spells on me,
that's funny. But as we've aged, we've incurred some natural wear. You know, so the basketball court for both of us is where we both started off at, right? And then we progress into strength training. And the form of strength training that we're doing has actually caused some wear on our joints, you know? So that's why me and you both kind of tiptoe more so into the steady state cardio version, because it's going to help us not accelerate the already accelerated wear we have on our lower half, you know, our suspension, hips, knees, and whatnot. And then some have simply just aren't in a condition to be doing something of a high intensity nature. So I would say someone like my mom, you know, perfectly fine, you know, healthy woman of 57, 58 years, but she is not in a trained condition to be jumping around ballistically here on her frame. So how does she get the cardio going? In a way that's going to get it moving, but not so much in the sense of creating additional damage. But there is another reason for doing the steady state version, and that's because different schools of thought. But the school of thought that I most adhere to when it comes to bodybuilding is the idea that once I get into this zone of being able to burn fat, I want to stay in that zone as long as possible. And in a high intensity format, it's near impossible to stay high intensity for the duration of 35, 40, 45, dare I say 55 minutes. It's just not humanly feasible. So if you want to stay in a consistent, ongoing version of cardio, you're going to have to choose something that's going to let your body do so. And well, that's just it. You know what I mean?
So you have a few different types of steady state, what will be those different types of steady states that people can do?
Well, I guess the steady state concept is just going to be establishing that target heart rate, right? Once the target heart rate has been established, then however you want to maintain that target heart rate is up to you completely. So you can maintain that target heart rate by doing something like walking uphill or just walking on flat land of a treadmill, or you can be doing something like stationary cycle. But whatever it is, it's trying to maintain at a minimum that target heart rate or more. But remember, when you go or more, do not let that or more portion come at the compromise of the target heart rate being maintained. So if my target heart rate was, let's say, 130, I want to be at 130. But if I run it up to 160, perfectly fine. But that 160 better not set me up to have to drop below 130 on the opposing time frame.
There you
because
go.
now I'm going into an interval, right?
Right.
Exactly.
So who benefits the most from steady state cardio?
Again, you're gonna have someone who's not as seasoned of an athlete, perhaps athlete in the performance sense. So someone like myself, a larger person, larger, I'm referring to weight, I should say, of a higher weight. So me, although I'm carrying, a ton of lean body mass, my skeleton doesn't know that. It just knows there's a lot of mass unnatural to my frame. According to medical charts, Darrell, I should be sitting at around 195, 200 pounds. I'm 280. Yes,
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
280. I'm carrying 80 extra pounds. And the arches of my feet, my hips, my ankles, they're not happy with that. So I don't care if it's muscle mass or if it's fat or if it's a backpack. It's just not native to that frame. So someone of accelerated or higher amount of weight probably should stay in the steady state version, low impact version of cardio. Maybe someone who is less conditioned by way of cardiovascular. So our older parents, if you will, or grandparents, or even someone like, and this is kind of controversial, but pregnant females. And I say that pregnant females, if you could have a pregnant male, right? But pregnant females although Arnold Schwarzenegger is a sidebar here, one of our gym gods, he did play a pregnant man. Remember that with Danny DeVito?
Right. Exactly.
Jr.?
I do remember that.
Yeah, but that was just science fiction, right? Anyways, so a pregnant female, she probably should take an exercise or cardio version that is of lower risk. Only because the idea of a Tabata or high intensity comes with some risk that I don't think she's willing to bear. You know what I mean? Should something go left. So those kind of special populations, I would say, probably should stay in the steady state version of cardio.
So do you think steady state is something that you can utilize long term?
I really don't believe for long term because again, age is not on our side when it comes to anything of a ballistic or high intensity nature. It's just going to have an accelerated wear and tear. What I refer to all the time as collateral damage. A great workout a great cardio workout is great to get that heart rate going. It's exciting. It's fun. It kind of keeps you from being so monotonous or mundane like the treadmill can feel. Similar to a hamster wheel, it can kind of feel, monotonous. So the high intensity is a way of shaking things up and get real inventive with it. But the problem is in doing so, you do cause a little more wear on those knees, hips, and what I call your suspension, things south of your hip. So I don't know if that's necessarily going to be designed for someone, beyond the age of or beyond the time frame of 10, 20, 30 plus years, which doesn't seem like very much time. But I mean, heck, let's not forget that basketball players, our heroes, these guys retire at 33, 34 years old because of the high intensity style of training that they've undergone since they were 18 years old, So I would definitely, I don't think commonly about that. What do you think about that?
So, well, definitely not. I don't think that any type of high intensity training could be something endured for years on. Now, I definitely would say, steady state is something that we all should be able to do on long term. And I look at that as just getting out and exercising, getting out and doing something that is outside of the normal walk, outside of the normal walk up and down a flight of steps on a daily basis, something that's going to be beneficial for you long term. You know, like you said, our parents, we always want them to get out and just walk. You know, walk a mile, get out and do something to get your heart rate going and keep you healthy, keep your endurance up to where you are never gasping for air as you get older. Just the overall healthy side of things. Here's the big question that a lot of people may have. Does it help burn fat faster?
There it goes, right? And this is why I think health and fitness is so interesting and so fun, because even me and you, we have the exact same upbringing with our youth sports. You know, Pop Warner, both playing contact sports, football, basketball. We all dabbled in maybe karate or whatever. But even with that going, what y'all? But even with that going beyond the age of 18 now, where you find us starting to split ways, if you will. So you went into your career as an NCAA basketball player. At that point, I shifted and went completely not left, but completely towards bodybuilding in my career of that fashion, right? So even with that, we all find a point whereby we're going to get to where we are now, where we're trying to just keep fat at bay. So we reminisce on what was the best time frame to do this. And then from then I try to figure out, you know, which is the best, because now we got a lot of responsibilities. We open up the podcast talking about your most recent addition to come, which is going to be even more time taken out of your schedule. So now you're trying to find, how do I find the most efficient way? You're asking yourself the most efficient way to get as much fat burn done as possible in the shortest amount of time. With that being said, I would tell you that, you know, high intensity interval training is not the way to burn the most fat, because obviously it's a shorter period of time, but it is the most easily fit to our schedules. And with that being said, you can constantly do it on a regular basis if you're fit to do so, because it only takes, you know, a very short time frame. I mean, heck, Tabata, the design of that alone is only going to be 4 minutes, right? The equation for Tabata is actually, let me try and think. The equation for Tabata is
20 on, 10 off.
Exactly. 20 on, 10 off.
So 20 on, 10 off, or 30 on, 15 off. Whatever that duration is, your rest period is cut in half.
So our listeners will know that's 20 stands for the seconds of the work, right? And then 10 stands for the seconds of the rest. And then you got 8 rounds of that. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And that's going to be a grand total of 4 minutes. So anyone can find that time frame to kind of shoot in to get that part done. So yeah, that would definitely mean you can stick to it. As when you say all programs work if you can stick to it. You know what I mean? So that will let you stick to it, versus me, the way I go about doing my fat burn as a bodybuilder is I have to have upwards of 55 minutes. We only get 24 hours in a day. You got to take 7 away for sleep. What am I left with? Now I got to pull a whole hour towards the actual cardio. And then now later on in my day, pull another hour towards my actual strength training. I'm running short on time pretty fast. But back to the original question on which one burns the most fat, highly debated, because it's not so binary of an answer, you know, but they both are going to burn fat for that time frame. I just happen to personally believe that the longer I can stay in that fat burning zone, the better off I'm going to be. Which is,
and that's the challenge. That's the challenge right
there. 55 minutes versus 4. But you can do yours. You can do Tabata 4. Well, hell, 4 times a day, as we see you doing now with your classes, right? I've seen you do classes 3 times in one day. So, well, there you go. It's a matter of your lifestyle and your responsibilities, you know?
This is way off question. This is just me asking. So you do, what you do your fasted cardio? Would you walk on an incline?
Yeah, I walk on an incline treadmill. And it's really because of, and I really got onto that, Darrell, watching you and, 2 of my cousins. 2 of my cousins, we all played basketball, just like you did, right? But the trick here is we're at that age whereby Achilles tears are very common between the age of 30 and 35, to include Kobe Bryant, right? That exact time frame. We don't know what causes that. Is it because we spent so much time on the hardwood floor? We don't know, but we do know this though. The highest time frame for that is when you did yours as well. The Achilles tear between the age of 30 and I want to say it's 35. So at that point in time, I realized, you know what? I got to really watch how ballistic I am in that area, just in case that's going to cause it. So I went into an incline or a treadmill steady state, truthfully, out of fear of having to endure what I've seen you and my other two cousins go through, you know?
Man, that was probably one of the hardest things I think I had to deal with in life. Just, mentally, physically, emotionally. When I tore my Achilles, it was just, I literally watched everything flash before my eyes. Like when it happened, I'm like, man, I swear to God, I know I did not do what I just thought or think I did. And, sure enough, and it's got me to the point now that I'm more cautious of just what I'm doing. I realized that, at the age of 38, that even though I can still get out there and move and I can still get out there and play and I still got it in me, I can't take that chance again to be off my feet for X amount of time, because everything I do is physical. Me teaching classes is physical. And I just can't take that risk again, and it sucks because, I want to get out there and play with my son. I mean, we play, but it's going to be a point in time where he gets a little older and, he's going to want to really test me and really get to a point where I remember when I was young, I got to a point where my dad would race. He would always race all the kids on the street. Like every summer, that was how we opened up the summer with a race. The kids were prepped for the race against my dad. I would prep for the race against my dad. And every summer, that's how we open up the summer. So like whatever day it was hot outside, that first hot day, all the kids were like knocking on my door. And I was a little one on the street knocking on my door. Where's your dad at? Come out here. We ready this year.
It's
and
official.
Race him down the street. And I want to get, I want to do the same thing with Denham when it gets to a point to where he wants to really challenge me, play some basketball and get to a point to where he's physical enough to play and fast enough to really compete with
Absolutely.
me. I want to get to that point.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that risk is still there though, right? So it's like that changing of the guard, passing of the baton. But we never want to just give that up freely. And to all our listeners, let's be real, man. As a male athlete, now I can't speak to being a female, obviously, but as a male athlete, one thing we don't want to ever do is just have our rightful position taken from us by the younger lion. And I'm so happy to see them get their roar, get their lungs behind them. You know what I mean? They get their physical prowess going, but I don't want to just leave. You know what I mean? So you're right, man. I want to be out here and on the court. I expect to be able to shoot my son's eyes out. And I expect to, at some point in time, put him in the goal also. That means get dunked on. I really expect to dunk on him. You know what I mean? This is just part of how it goes. When he turns 16 years old, he starts feeling himself. He think he got it on him. Boom, dad still got it. You know what I mean? I'm going to pay for it later on, don't get me wrong. But for that moment in time, I still got it, right? And it's just a real cool thing to do. That's the story you have of your dad. I was the same thing about me and my dad when he was coaching my football teams. I'm out here and then, it's time for these drills and we ain't doing it right. So he hops out and shows how to do it. So that's super exciting, right? Like the same way, like all the kids at the beginning of the culmination of the official summer beginning, they're ready to come out and race your dad. And of course, that was your chance at one point in time to be of age. You were the youngest one, you said, to actually race him yourself. So it's that changing of the guard. You know what I mean? I feel the same exact way with my dad when he was coaching me, playing football. We were out there getting the drills wrong. So they say, man, forget it. Sit down. And they go and show us how to actually do that. You know what I mean? That was a point of pride that I had watching my dad, physically show out with his prowess. But at the same time, though, I know he felt good knowing that he still had it and could show that. You know what I mean? Of course, I know he had to pay for that later on, probably the same way me and you do. But I definitely look forward to one day being able to foot race my son the same way, or being able to jump off the ground and dunk on him the exact same way,
Exactly. So that kind of, like I said, that leads us into our second part of high intensity interval training. What does it benefit the most for people doing high intensity?
Man, absolute all things that relate to performance. So those who will be utilizing those quick bursts of speed, really getting into those type 2A muscles, the ones that cause you to have to pause and then and shift direction or be able to pause and accelerate. That style of cardio or that style of training is going to lean towards where you're going to need it most, commonly Basketball, we both know that. The gridiron, football, rugby, soccer, all these types of sports are going to be made better, or your skill set will be enhanced by being able to utilize, the muscles that are called for, to include the cardiac, way of breathing when you're doing a high intensity interval training. So it's a dual full purpose.
And then we kind of already touched on, the difference between being long term and short term. But when it comes to high intensity, because we didn't touch on it, but we kind of touched on it on the steady state, does it burn fat faster?
No, not faster. It simply allows you to burn fat longer. So that goes back to the whole scheduling, right? I need to burn fat for the time frame I have now, or which was a little more accelerated version of fat burn when you are in a HIIT format, but you can't keep HIIT going, but we're talking 10, 12 minutes on the top end, and then you go into the steady state, which lets you maintain a lowered heart rate, but it's still elevated enough to be burning fat, but you can stay in that zone for much longer. You can keep your heart rate at about 75% of your maximum heart rate for 55 minutes. You can't keep your heart rate and the average person can't do a HIIT, which is going to be upwards of, we're talking 80% of your maximum heart rate for 50 minutes. It's just not going to work. That's why it's set up into those increments, like you talked about earlier with Tabata. We're talking 20 on, 20 on, 20 on, because you can't sustain that kind of a cardiac output for 55 continual minutes.
You'd be considered a unicorn or Superman or Superwoman.
Yeah, super X-Men, a god, something other than a regular earthling like we are,
And just think about sports. You got football. The longest lasting play is 4 seconds?
Absolutely.
Basketball is run down, stop, kind of move around, run back, stop, kind of move around. Like it's never just, nonstop. So there's 3 different types of gym goers. You have your people going to the gym to stay alive. You have people going into the gym for aesthetics. And then you have people going into the gym for functional use.
There you go.
Would HIIT or steady state be most applicable for each of those 3?
Yeah, I would think HIIT's going to lend more so, like we were saying a second ago, back towards the performance guy. Although he can benefit from steady state, he will get most secondary benefit from high intensity. And then the aesthetic guy, which is me on a stage, right? I'm not doing no running around. I'm standing literally in one position under lights, turn to the right, turn to the right, turn to the right. That's it. So no need for that kind of high intensity or ability to leap off the ground, or like you said a moment ago, perform for 4 seconds at a time at high capacity output. And then my granddad and my mom and my other friends are going to fall into the category of simply trying to keep blood scores proper. So they also need to be able to accelerate. My mom doesn't have to run a 40-yard dash or leap over someone to catch a football. So that's certain risks she doesn't actually have to take per se.
So
as fun as it may be.
It's safe to say we have 2 different types of cardio or fat burning options people can take. And the main thing is making sure that your heart rate is above normal. It's in a fat burning stage. You can do that for a long period of time, slow steady state, or you can do it for a short period of time at HIIT or Tabata, any one of the things of your choice. Again, if you're pressed for time and you physically can do it, of course, go ahead and move over to HIIT, go move to Tabata. If you are not pressed for time and your body can't take the HIIT type of training, then of course get on, a Stairmaster, get on elliptical, something that you can obtain a long steady state, slow steady state cardio to keep that heart rate going, so you guys can burn some fat. And that's kind of what we wanted to talk to you guys about today. We wanted to give you guys just some insight on different styles. This is what Fit Plug Radio is about, is to give you guys, like I said, we're the fit plug. We're the plug for your fitness goals. We want to make sure that we educate people Just give you guys a lot of information, a lot of value to your fitness journey. Because the worst thing that you can do is go to the gym, work out intensely for years and never obtain the body that you like. And this is why we offer the Heat Challenge. We put a lot of pride, we put a lot of value in that program and making sure that it's not just a meal plan, not just a workout. When people get done with the Heat Challenge, they have a broad education on supplements, which you guys need to go pick up. And we're currently sold out of Mex. Thank you guys. But we have a broad education on supplements. We have a broad education on cardio. We have a broad education on body weight exercises. We have a broad education on strength training. And we like to educate all of our clients, our audience, so they're not going out, working out, and just what I call doing shit. I've seen plenty of people that, they'll leave a workout and they're like, man, that workout was hard. And I'm drenched with sweat. And I ask, well, what did you do? Well, we did this. And, okay, well, what were you working? Well, I don't know. Well, what was the point of the workout?
I'm tired.
I'm tired. Like, look at me, I'm sweating. And it's like, yeah, you just wasted a bunch of time. Like, if you can't tell what it is that you're doing, why you're doing, you're wasting time. And that's the worst thing that you can do is go into a workout and not strategically have a plan to get to your goal. And that's what I call, getting in somebody else's lane or just doing shit. The worst thing you can do is try to get to point B with no roadmap. And that's what the Heat Challenge provides. That's what Fit Plug provides. That's what Big Ron Jones provides. That's what myself. We pride ourselves on making sure that our audience is educated, and understand the steps, the process. And not only that, there's another part of this whole equation, and it's your mindset. Mentally getting in the place to where you need to be to get to where you want to go. And everybody's not successful the first time. And it's not due to lack of our education or lack of on our end. Sometimes it just takes people time to get mentally prepared. Life happens. A lot of different things happen. So you'll see a lot of people come back on the challenge for their fifth, sixth, seventh. A lot of people are just doing the program because they like what the program offers and they like the accountability of the program. And the retention of the program is there. We add a lot of value to it. So thank you guys. Ron, you got anything else for the listeners?
Man, nah, just it. That's 100% it, bro. We're all about empowering you all with education, and understanding of what you're doing. That way, we give you back control. And in a world like this that we're living in, there's nothing better than having control. You can't control your finances oftentimes. You can't control your husband, your wife, children. One thing you do have somewhat control over, not somewhat, you do have control over is your health. Even when things that you can't control about your health happen, you still have control over how it's going to take place in your world. So when we give you the education, we're empowering you to have control. And that's what it's about, is understanding why you're doing, and like Darrell said a moment ago, why you're doing it. That way, again, I keep saying the word control, but now you have somewhere in your world where you do have control. So that's what it's about. It seems counterintuitive. Trust me, I will tell you this. In training world, it's very common to not empower your client with education, because if you empower the client with education, they just might grow up and not need you. Let me tell you something. We got so much. I can confidently tell you, you'll never outgrow us, because we got so much to offer you. If you saw great things happen in round 1, round 2, round 7, wait till you see what we got for you in round 8. And then round 9. Hey, it's going to keep coming.
Round 10.
And round 10, we feel that confident. I don't care what we give you, you still ain't had enough. Still ahead of you, man. And that's how we are. Confidence in what we do.
That's the beauty of fitness. There's never going to be a point where you're just satisfied with with what you have. There's always going to be a goal. You're going to hit that goal, and then you're going to have a new goal. And that's the beauty of fitness. There's no end to where you can go. There's no end to where you can go. You can always be better. You can always do more. You can always learn more. And
Dr. Seuss said it. What he said? Dr. Seuss said, "Oh, the places we'll go." I say that. That's the opener to our Heat Challenge for now. Oh, the places we'll go.
We will go. Well, appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate it. This is our third podcast. Next week, we'll have Shania on board with us. So we're bringing our lovely Shania for the ladies, the lower body guru, to the stage. And make sure you guys tune in. Again, follow us on Instagram, FitPlug Radio. Follow my man, Big Ron Jones, myself. I am the real DP. HeatXtreme, that's HeatXtreme. That's our business page and our supplement page, Heat Performance. We just came out with a new line of pre-workout, 2 different flavors. We have strawberry watermelon and tropical punch. We are currently sold out of our number 1 ticket item, which is Max. But if you guys haven't or want to join the Heat Challenge, we did set enough bottles to the side. Unless that sells out quicker than we planned, which it probably will because this program's just that damn dope. Make sure you guys jump on board. We are excited to unleash the mobile version of the app on round 8. So we got a lot of different stuff coming up for you guys. Some new product coming out in a couple of months. So we're over here working. Your dollars that you're spending on this program, you're going to see that be reinvested back into this program to keep delivering you guys better product, more better service, a better platform continuously. You'll always see something change each round of this program. And I appreciate you guys' time and ear. Ron, again, man, I appreciate everything that you've been doing. And other than that, we out.
Peace.